Welcome back to the channel. As you see Nova coming into view about now, this was our park up on the second day of our visit to Pembrokeshire, and this one is going to be a two-part vlog, and I promise you, especially in part 2, it is going to be epic. Something that you've not seen before, something a little bit different. But there we are, panning back from Nova. We shall see you in part 1 and part 2. How and how, good afternoon all, and welcome back to Nick at Nova Adventures. The date is Saturday the 3rd of May 2025. Yay, long weekend, bank holiday, an extra day off work. Brilliant. Anyway, the time is just about 12:30 in the PM and the temperature is a cool 13 degrees. The sun is shining here in West Wales. We are back off to Pembrokeshire where we were last week. Due to the wind, we couldn't get David the drone up, and guess what? It's bloody windy again today. So we are going to do today, tomorrow, and tomorrow, today. That makes sense to me. You know, we take you to some incredible places over the last nearly 3 years of being Nova Adventures and having Nova self-converted to micro camper. But this weekend we take you to the vomit. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna put a photo just to show you I'm not joking. There is a place in Pembrokeshire called the Vomit Viewpoint. Right, enough talking. I'm getting a bit hot inside this sweatbox called Nova, and unless anything happens on the way, you'll join me there very shortly. Okay, we have arrived at our lunchtime destination. Hopefully you can hear me. It is a little bit windy. That beach looks inviting for some sea glass hunting. So where are we? We are at a car park, Can Flats, there you go. And that is our view for lunch. Free parking from 6 AM to 10 PM, no overnight stays, but we're not staying here overnight anyway. So there's the view as you look out into the bay. Just on the horizon over there is the oil refinery, where we've been before, of course. And then here's Nova. There we are, Nova and her new friend. Okay, time for some lunch and then we'll go hunting for some sea glass. Far too windy for the drone today, as you can hear. Eventually we've made some lunch. There we are in the shadow a bit, with the kettle cup and a nice cup of coffee, and that is our view to my right, and that is my view straight out to sea, and to my left, what a view. Anyway, got talking to a couple next door. They have that Ford motorhome there, and she has given my number to a guy in Milford Haven who would also like to convert a Berlingo. So there are other people like me out there. Okay, right, I'm starving Marvin, and time for me to get some lunch. We've just had lunch then, and Nova is parked just over there, and we've come across the road to these structures. Now, if you know Pembrokeshire, you'll know that you often see lime kilns. So these are the Dale lime kilns, and what they would have done is, let's go to this one. They would have put the horse and cart up on the top there. They would have dropped the lime and whatnot into the furnace, which is in there. And then obviously it would have worked its magic. It gives you an insight to the industrial period around the 18th and 19th centuries. There are a few in Ceredigion as well, but mainly in sheltered coastal areas. We're just going to walk around the kiln and go up to the top for you. Here we go. And there we are, they're looking directly into the kiln itself and the base. And a quick walk round the edge. Hopefully you can hear me. I've got the GoPro wind sock on because, as I've told you, it is incredibly windy. Shame really, but at least it's dry and the sun is shining. So what's unusual here are there are two lime kilns alongside each other, and they would have bought the lime and the coal down the estuary there. And there you see into the base of another one. I'll get my shadow out of the way. There we go. And then a view looking from the top. Wow, amazing. Right, we're going for a walk now over on the beach to see if we can find some sea glass, as we normally do. Oh, look at that. I thought that was a camper then, but it's not. Anyway, that's where we're off now. And just while you're looking out to sea, really, this area was devastated by the Sea Empress oil disaster, I think in the 1990s, and all this area down here would have been covered in crude oil. And I said before on the vlog, I saw that on the news and I cried and cried for hours. Devastating. Even the cows agree. Anyway, right, we're off for our walk. We walked from our park up all the way along the beach, and then we walked all the way over there, collecting sea glass and some shells. And I'll just show you one of the best shells I got, one of those beauties, and then another shell. Wow, big shells. Anyway, we are walking back to Nova now. We are going to have, or I'm going to have a cup of coffee, sit in the back of Nova for a while, and then go up to St Anne's Head for our park up and supper. Hopefully the wind is going to drop tomorrow. It's been biting today. The reason why it's gone from 20 odd degrees down to about 13 is that wind. Okay, right, next time you'll see me will be in the back of Nova with all my sea glass to show you. Back at Nova now. Not a bad walk back from Dale. We are gonna go and have a look at the lagoons just through there after we've had a cup of coffee. I shall show you my sea glass. Can't quite see it, it's in the shadow, but yeah, that's quite a lot there, considering we didn't think we'd even find any. But wow, unfortunately no blue and no red, but any sea glass is good sea glass. And we do collect the odd bit of porcelain as well, and we've got a bit there. Biggest bit of sea glass was that. It's a bit of a funny shape, but it definitely is glass and not a stone. All right, time for a cup of coffee. We are going to walk to the Pickle Ridge Lagoon and the Carn or Garn, and it says these lagoons were formed by the removal of gravel to make Dale Airfield in World War II. So anyway, that's where we're going to walk down here and then back to Nova and go to our park up and make some supper. Having crossed the lagoons over some dodgy walkways, we've come to the other side of the estuary. We've sheltered behind the bank so we're not in the wind. Hopefully that wind will drop tomorrow so we can get some drone footage of the two lighthouses and the fort. And if you look in the distance just on the headland over there, that is Dale Fort. We went there last week but we couldn't get in there. It's used for field studies for marine and for along these banks. Students do their do their practical side of their courses there. So it's private property, no entry, which is a shame because I would have loved to have got David the drone out over and round that one. It looks epic on photos. So there is Dale over there that we walked to this afternoon to collect all that sea glass. Nova is just to the left of that boat. Okay, so we are going to be walking back now across the dodgy planks, get back to Nova, and then we're going to mooch on up to our park up where we're going to obviously stay overnight and cook some supper. And believe it or not, that wind has momentarily dropped. Wow, what a difference. As soon as that wind drops, it goes really warm. And obviously you can hear me talk, which for some of you might be a bad point, but there we are. Anyway, okay, back to Nova across the dodgy planks. Hopefully we will make it safe and sound. Here are the dodgy planks, 2 of them to walk across. Here we go. Wish me luck. That is number 1 done. Cross a little bit of water, and here is number 2. Whew. Oh, that's it, done. Okay, we are coming up onto the bank now. I'll just give you a view out to there while we walk, and then give you what we can see. Pickle Ridge Lagoons, and there is the start of it there with a dam, so it just drains little by little. So peaceful. If this wind wasn't here, it would be absolutely silent. Beautiful. We should just walk to the point by there and give you a view of the biggest lagoon. There we are then, coming into view now is a part of the bigger lagoon. And I'll get to the top of this bank and you can see obviously what I can see. And there we are, there's the biggest lagoon. Natural habitat for birds, so not a good place to get the drone up. There we are, beautiful view. Okay, back to Nova, out of this bloody wind. We have made it to our park up, and you can't hear the wind very much at the moment, but if I do this, that's how windy it is. And believe it or not, it is windier this week or today than it was last week. Sod's law. Anyway, the park up for the night. We are cooking supper on the NJT. We've got some good windbreak with Nova and the lighthouses are just down there. That's where we're off tomorrow, so cross your fingers and hopefully this wind will go away and we can get some decent drone footage. Anyway, I'm going to get on and cook my supper. Just look at that, there is going to be one hell of a sunset out there tonight. Oops, I think we've upset the neighbours. There is a van parked up there, nice red van. And then there was a car parked next to me with a foreign number plate on. And he got in his car and he's moved, oops, if you can see just in the distance there, he's moved over there. Maybe he didn't like the smell of my chicken cooking. Maybe he might be a vegan or a vegetarian. No, only joking. Anyway, he's moved off. So, okay, look, supper is cooking. Yummy, yummy, yummy! Oh my god, it's not on fire, I promise. Anyway, supper is cooking, and we've got a Peugeot partner coming in there, and that certainly looks like a camper to me. Oh my god. Anyway, let's get on with some supper and try not to upset the neighbours. There we have it then, supper is served. Chili chicken with dirty rice, or Mexican rice I think it is, and some nice yellow pepper. And by there, look, yellow pepper. Eventually got it done. We changed the gas to the other gas we've got and it was okay in the end. Our normal pint of 0% lager shandy. There we are. All the way from Aldi in Abertavy, and our view is that. Anyway, I'm going to get on and eat. We have been joined by a Peugeot partner behind us. I've got some photos of that, and there's a van over there, and that guy who I upset is still over there. Anyway, I'm going to get on, eat my supper, and then watch a DVD. Not sure if the GoPro picks that up, but that is after sunset. It's still windy, a bit cold. Let's hope tomorrow is less windy. Okay, back to my DVD. As you look from above over Nova with the DJI Mini 4 Pro drone, that is it guys for part 1 of this Pembrokeshire visit. Not wanting to make the vlogs too long, and this is what's coming up in part 2 of the Pembrokeshire vlog. There we are, this is St Anne's Lighthouse, the original lighthouse that dates back to 1844 and is currently up for sale for a cool £700,000. And in my estimation, it needs a good £150,000 spent on it to bring it back to its former glory, which it is so much needing to happen. But for that price, $1 million all in, that could be yours. Find out in part 2 exactly what we get up to, and I promise it's going to be a blast.